Hi everyone, my name is Manu. I'm the CEO and co-founder of MPOWER Financing. And today we will be talking about Minds and Money, the future of international student financing in North America. International students have been growing very steadily over the past decade. We've seen 1.6x growth in the US and actually a complete boom in Canada with 3x growth and an acceleration in the past few years. But this trend is not new. It's been the case for the past 70 plus years. This graph shows the US, and you can see that even though there's periods of ups and downs, the trend is very clear. People want to come to the US to study. And this has shown very little signs of actually stopping at all. Just because of the demographic curve, there's a lot of emerging markets where there's just a lot more demand from students than there is supply. So we should see this continue for the many decades to come. Despite COVID, most prospective international students still want to go over to the US, Canada, Australia, and the UK and study. And actually the younger cohorts, so the classes, future classes of 2021, 22, 23, are even more eager to do so. I joke that maybe they're tired of sitting at home during lockdown with mom and dad, and they are quite eager to go overseas. This is a huge financing opportunity. International students in North America spend $61 billion every single year on education and education-related expenses like housing, meals, health insurance, books. Sure, there's international students that have the personal means and the family money in order to pay for it, or government sponsorships or university discounts or sponsorships. But the reality is, even when you take that away, there's still about $24 billion that's addressable. $24 billion of financing every single year. And many more students would come if financing were available. There's a lot of really bright minds around the planet that can't even fathom coming to the US or Canada because they just don't have the money. They're not aware that there is financing available. And to be fair, today their options are fairly bleak, right? The US and Canadian banks are not lending to international students unless they have what I call a rich uncle, like a credit-worthy US citizen cosigner, which less than 1% of international students have access to. And what they're usually left to these students is to borrow in the home country if they can get a loan in the home country. And usually that involves a horrendous paper-based process, mom and dad as cosigner, home and a lot of land as collateral. And at the end of the day, when you're done with this process, if you're lucky, you're getting a loan in rupees or rubles or reais or another currency, to just pick the one starting with ours, and you're looking at 14+% interest rate in places like India, up to 30% plus interest rate in places like Brazil. So very, very expensive with currency risk and so on. Incomes and power. We're very different on many different levels, and there's three things that really jump out for us. One is we meet the students where they are, which is on their smartphone. 2/3 of the students apply via their phone on our site. And we also meet them through partners in country. So we partner with test prep administrators for the GRE, the GMAT, the TOEFL in the home country, or admissions counselors, for instance. That's one big difference for us. The second one is we don't make a credit decision based on mom and dad's FICO score, because if you're coming from India or China, mom and dad do not have a FICO score. We base the credit decisions on the student and their future potential. And then finally, we make it seamless to get paid back, whether the student ends up working in New York City or Mumbai or Shanghai or Rio. We work with 350 universities today and 100 plus partners around the planet. We also have a very heavy digital presence, and this is how we build awareness with the students. This is how they find out about us. And that's resulted in about 800,000 plus visits on our site last year. And so we have a very, very high growth of visits. There's a lot of demand these days for students from around the planet looking for financing for their education. The part that I'm most passionate about as an international student myself is the impact we have on these bright minds around the planet. 85% of the students we help tell us that without our help, they wouldn't be able to stay in school in North America, or they would have never been able to come to the US and Canada to study in the first place. 1 in 6 students that we finance comes from a family that makes less than $2,500 a year. To put that in perspective, it's about $200 a month that the family is making. And then finally, we're the only lender in this space. We're the only lender in the US that finances DACA students without a US citizen co-signer. So we're removing a huge hurdle for DACA students. We're excited to be virtually at ASU GSV, so feel free to contact me at manu@empowerfinancing.com so we can explore ways that we can work together. Thank you.